Hello everyone, I hope you're staying safe and sane during quarantine. It is really tough on a lot of people, so I feel for everyone out there. But why not make the most of your time if you're stuck in the house by taking up a new hobby? Like, I've started crocheting and I crocheted this incredibly floppy fox called Boxy. Big floppy ears. And Boxy is blind but can smell bullshit from a mile away. And I thought he'd be a perfect addition in this video because I am going to be covering a post that I've seen people share on social media that I decided to do some research on, and lo and behold, it's full of misinformation. And I get the feeling that all these short little posts, a lot of people, because it's so easy to read and take people's word for it, may just take it to heart at face value without doing research. So all I can say is I really encourage you to do your own research. And I thought this would be an important post to cover because it involves a big part of society, I guess, which is alcohol and how it's detrimental to your spiritual path. So I've got notes on my computer, and so I'll be looking over it constantly, but I've written what this post actually says, and I apologise for any mispronunciations because they mention an Arabic term and I don't speak Arabic. So the post reads: alcohol is said to have come from the Arabic term alcohol and algol, which means body-eating spirit. Perhaps this is why alcoholic drinks are called spirit and booze. Drinking alcohol is one of the ways to lower your vibrations, as it's been used as a tool to keep human consciousness at a lowered state for thousands of years. Now, alcohol, as I said, is a big part of many cultures. It's a big part of society, and I wanted to dissect this post and discern what was truth and what was misinformation. But just a quick disclaimer, I'm not encouraging anyone to drink if they don't want to. The purpose of this video is to inform you that there is misinformation out there, and if you like the odd drink, as long as you're not like binge drinking, you can drink but still have a successful spiritual path. And of course, only drink if you're of legal age. But first, I thought we'd look into the etymology of the word alcohol, as that's the first thing mentioned in said post. So it mentioned the Arabic roots for it, so like alcohol, I think that's how you pronounce it. But I did some research, and kohl in Arabic is the word for a fine metallic powder used on your eyes, and it stems from the word kahala, which means to stain. So by that it has a direct association with makeup, which I thought was a bit random. The word al means the. But by the 1670s, alcohol was used in English to mean any sublimated substance, the pure spirit of anything. And in 1753, alcohol was first recorded as meaning intoxicated ingredients in strong liquor. Spirits, in terms of alcohol, was a term used by Aristotle to mean a drink formed through the process of distillation. He wrote about distillation in 327 BC and used the word spirit to describe the products of the process. However, it isn't known if the ancient Greeks distilled alcohol to some significant degree and quantity. But whilst doing my research, the term alcohol, there was very few sources that claimed that it meant body-eating spirit. One source that I found seemed to be very biased against alcohol and the consumption of alcohol anyways. It has many questionable articles, like how a woman found that vitamin C saved their family from the virus that's, causing ruckus in the world now. Obviously, stuff like this can be dangerous and give people a false sense of hope. So I question that source that claims alcohol means body-eating spirit. Now, let's move on in the post and look into any proof that alcohol has lowered the human vibrations over thousands of years. Well, according to one source, Jason Christoff, a health enthusiast supposedly, states that alcohol is used to extract the soul essence of an entity, hence why it's used to sterilize medical equipment and used to extract essence from essential oils. Apparently alcohol allows us it extracts the essence of our soul, which makes us more susceptible to lower frequencies and entities of a lower vibration, and that's why people black out when they have had too much to drink. However, is it due to being susceptible to lower vibrational beings? Well, I think I'm gonna jump through parts of this, of my notes, but to bring up why people black out due to alcohol. According to alcohol.org, blackouts is due to the rapid increase in blood alcohol levels. And usually for someone to not remember stuff when they get drunk, the blood alcohol concentration must hit 0.14%. So when one is sober, memories are formed by the sensory information we gain, and it is stored in the short-term memory and then gets transferred into the long-term memory. Now, when someone is drinking, it messes with the initial coding of that sensory information, which means it can't be put properly into the short-term memory, so it doesn't really transfer back into the long-term memory. So that's why people black out. So it's not caused by lower vibrational beings, even if you even believing that. Not everyone believes those things exist, but I think it's important to look into the health enthusiast from this article, Jason Christoff. Now, a quick Google search pulled up his website, and just scrolling through the articles, I saw a number of red flags, and that his advice and information should be taken with a pinch of salt. Like, for example, I'm sure there are many, but for example, one of his articles said that government corruption will start a new Holocaust, and many articles of the dangers of vaccines, so he's clearly an anti-vaxxer. And I will make a video about anti-vax propaganda, because I think it's important to dispel all that bullshit. Foxy can smell that a mile off. And because that kind of information is actually dangerous, and there is no proof supporting that answer. So I will definitely make a video about that. Now, I found at least 6 websites using the exact same quote from him. So, because I don't take his initial statement as being accurate, I can't really trust these sources, and I haven't seen any other sources that use some different information to say that alcohol lowers your vibrations. So just to be clear, I think if you find for you it lowers your own vibrations, then that's fine, don't drink. But I think people need to be aware of these posts that make sweeping generalizations, because everyone's path is subjective. Everyone experiences things differently, so really be aware when you're doing your research. But now I think I'm going to explore how alcohol has actually been used in many different religions and cultures and such throughout the years. So I'll give you a few examples of different deities associated with alcohol. So Dionysus, the god from the Greek pantheon, has been known as the god of the grape harvest and wine. He's the son of Zeus, and he was a very important figure in ancient Greece and became associated with the idea that being a bit drunk would lead one to feel possessed by a higher power, which you can imagine there's such reverence for such deities. This was a big deal. But it was also claimed that whilst he brought merriment and joy to some people, he had the opposite effects on other people. And this kind of reflects the nature of alcohol if you think about it, because I'm sure you've come across people who are very, very happy when they're drunk, and then people who just cry over the smallest things when drunk. So I think that was pretty cool. Now, moving on to the Celtic pantheon, I probably won't pronounce this correctly, but Cercaeus was worshipped in Gaul and the country that is now known as modern-day Portugal, and he was considered the god of the forest, agriculture and beer, and he is often depicted with carrying a beer barrel. And of course, alcohol was also prevalent in Norse society. Ale was drunk more than water because it was safer. The process of brewing ale involves boiling the water, which would kill off all the horrible waterborne diseases like cholera, etc. So drinking ale was actually considered safer. But there were 4 common drinks in Norse society, and that's obviously mead, or ale, mead, which I think most people associate with the Norsemen, wine, and a type of fermented milk called syra. Odin, king of the gods, only drank wine, but mead was considered the drink of the gods by the Norse people. And there are tales in the Prose Edda, the main source of information that we have regarding the Norse pantheon. There are tales in that book that involve the gods drinking. So these are only just a few examples, just a whistle-stop tour really, but if you're interested in looking at alcohol in different cultures, different religions and stuff, I highly recommend you delve into it more. But there, even in religious practices, not just associations with certain deities, but in the actual practices, a lot of them around the world involve alcohol, or used to involve alcohol. This makes sense because, going back a bit, a lot of these deities who are associated with alcohol are also associated with harvests and agriculture, and I think this kind of makes sense because the fruit for the alcohol needs to grow and be harvested before it could be turned into some kind of wine, or honey is used for mead and stuff like that. If alcohol was so bad for one's spirituality, why would so many religions and pantheons have gods associated with alcohol? And modern day pagans even leave wine or mead as offering to deities they've established some kind of relationship with. But even a lot of the world's main religions use alcohol. For example, Christianity, the first one that comes to your mind, red wine is used during Holy Communion since it symbolizes the blood of Christ. Mexican Christians also leave tequila on their altars for the Day of the Dead, and those in the Eastern Orthodox phase have vodka blessed by priests, which then gets poured on people's graves. But similar to, moving on to a different religion, similar to how mead is seen as the drink of gods by Norse people, those who practice the Shinto religion in Japan reveres sake as the liquor of gods. And many of their rituals include sake, including one where men drink a lot of it and then defend a shrine against other men with nothing but pine branches, and that researching that kind of made me giggle a bit. But voodoo also uses alcohol, especially rum, and this is usually left as an offering for ancestors, but is also consumed to allow spirits to enter the body, which helps a person overcome everyday problems. As evidenced by just these very few examples, alcohol has been widely used for religious purposes and in everyday life for thousands of years. If alcohol was used to lower everyone's vibrations for millennia, why would so many cultures employ it as a part of their kind of spirituality? Some may argue that alcohol is unnatural and man-made, and this may seem like the case, but there are actually instances of animals getting drunk in nature, not by humans brewing alcohol or anything like that, but a lot of alcohol is produced through the process of fermenting fruit, and there have been videos and evidence of animals like elephants fighting over the fermented fruit, which would have produced some kind of alcohol. So it's not just a human thing. Loads of animals too love fermented fruit and such. So yeah, that is basically it. At the end of the day, you don't have to drink alcohol if you think it's bad for you and your spirituality. But if you do drink, make sure you don't do it obsessively, but don't feel like you have to stop drinking it in order to improve your spiritual path. And as always, do your own research. There is so much misinformation out there. I will try and find the links to different things referenced in this video, but honestly I wrote this like ages ago, as I don't have the links anymore, so I'll have to do the research again and try and find the websites that I found to be very helpful, and I will link those in the description. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you're staying safe and pick up a new hobby. Bye.